Hello everyone, welcome to Motivational Medicos. My name is Pulkit Gupta and in this video we are going to start with ANS in pharmacology. So this is a very important topic to understand the whole pharmacology. So if this topic is clear to you, you will be able to go through the pharmacology very easily. So without wasting time, let's get started. So what is ANS first of all? So ANS is autonomic. It is autonomic nervous system. So this autonomic, you can see the word autonomic means it is doing by itself. You cannot do by yourself. It is not by your voluntary response. So it will going to work by itself. Its secretion like the secretions in our body, in the stomach or in sweat glands. So these secretions are not through our action. It is by our body response. So basically, this ANS is divided into two things, that is sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So these two systems, that is sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So if we see on the basis of anatomy, this sympathetic system is the thoracolumbar outflow. This is thoracolumbar outflow, while parasympathetic is craniosacral outflow. What does this means by thoracolumbar and the craniosacral outflow? It means basically that from the T1 to L2, these nerves are going to supply to the sympathetic system, while the cranial and the sacral region will going to supply to the parasympathetic region. So to remember these, the outflow with from which region sympathetic is coming and from which region parasympathetic is coming, I have a very interesting trick to remember this. So there are clinical subjects and paraclinical subjects. Everyone wants the clinical subject, basically the center subjects, the main subjects, and paraclinical subjects are basically the peripheral subject, which students don't want. So you know see, this is like our brainstem, and above is the brain. So these are the cranial and the sacral region. These are the peripheral region. So this is basically paraclinical subject, you can say. This is by the craniosacral. And the central region, the thoracolumbar region, this region is basically central region. So it is by the thoracolumbar outflow, the sympathetic nervous system. So by this way, you can remember that sympathetic nervous system is supplied by the thoracolumbar outflow and parasympathetic by the craniosacral outflow. Now, the next thing we need to know is that uh, see, I have to explain you by a diagram. So this is our brain, and this is our, suppose, is a brain stem. Now there are the neurons which going to hear the synapse and going to supply to any organ. Similarly, I am explaining in this region also with a different color, like this. See, what happens, what I am telling you is the preganglionic and the postganglionic neurons. These are our neurons on both the sides. These are our neurons. So these neurons are basically, uh, if it is present before synapse, it is preganglionic, and if it is present after the synapse, it is postganglionic. This postganglionic neurons are the ones which going to supply to the organ. Now in the sympathetic nervous system, preganglionic are small and postganglionic are big. So why basically how to remember this thing? So in the sympathetics, sympathetic words is sympathy, means you want to take that thing closer to you. So sympathy means it is closer to you. So you can remember by like this, preganglionic will be shorter in sympathetic nervous system, while in parasympathetic it will be opposite, like that preganglionic will be large and postganglionic will be small. Now the second thing we need to understand is that the neurotransmitters released in the parasympathetic nervous system. See, suppose this is parasympathetic system. In this, the preganglionic secrete acetylcholine, and postganglion also secrete acetylcholine. While in sympathetic nervous system, see, the preganglionic always going to release acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter, whether it is sympathetic or parasympathetic. While the postganglionic makes the difference. This postganglion is going to make the difference. In postganglionic parasympathetic, we have seen now that is acetylcholine, which is the neurotransmitter. While in the sympathetic, it is the noradrenaline system, noradrenaline, adrenaline. These are going to be the neurotransmitter in the sympathetic nervous system. And on this basis, we can say that this non-adrenaline is the, we can say it is an adrenergic system, and this acetylcholine as the cholinergic system. So we'll study in our further lectures that the cholinergic drugs and anticholinergic drugs and the adrenergic and the anti-adrenergic drugs. So now we have understand this, but there is a one exception in the adrenergic system, and that is basically the sweat glands. In I have just told you about that in the adrenergic system, the postganglionic is secrete the non-adrenaline as a neurotransmitter, but in sweat gland, it is the acetylcholine which is going to be released from the postganglionic. So this is the an exception in the sympathetic nervous system, which you have to remember. Now let's see the difference between parasympathetic parasympathetic and sympathetic on the basis of function. So on the basis of function, let's see the difference in both. So how you can remember the function. So I have a very interesting trick for this also. So in the sympathetic nervous system, sympathy we do from the heart. So first of all, let's see in the heart. So in the heart, the sympathetic nervous system is going to increase, while in parasympathetic it will going to decrease. Now what it's going to increase? It will going to increase the rate, it will going to increase the conduction, and it will also going to increase the contractility. So these three things is going to increase in the sympathetic. So sympathy, heart, that will going to increase in the sympathetic nervous system, while in parasympathetic the rate and conduction will be decreasing. So this is in the, now in every other system, every other system, in parasympathetic is going to increase and sympathetic is going to decrease. So this is a trick that in sympathetic, sympathy, heart will going to increase in the sympathetic, and in all the other system, parasympathetic uh, nervous system, all the things going to increase, and in sympathetic it is going to decrease. Let's see how. See, let's first take the example of bronchus. So in bronchus it's going to increase means it will going to do bronchoconstriction. There will be bronchoconstriction, while in opposite, in sympathetic it will be bronchodilation. Now the second thing which we need will see is the GIT. In the GIT, so in the GIT, if it GIT mortality will increase. So if there's increased mortality, then there will cause diarrhea. So there will be diarrhea in parasympathetic. Now in this it is decreasing means the mortality will decrease. So if decrease, that will cause constipation. So constipation will be there in this. The third thing is the bladder. Let's see in the bladder. So in the bladder also it will increase. What will it will increase? It will increase the urine flow. So increase urine flow, while in this it will be decrease the urine flow in the sympathetic nervous system. The next thing we need to study is the, you just have to follow that rule, everything is going to increase the glands. So in the sympathetic to parasympathetic, it will going to increase the secretion, while in this it will going to decrease. And the last one is the pupil. In pupil there will be constriction, there will be constriction in the parasympathetic system. So in the constriction of pupil is called meiosis. This word you need to remember, that meiosis, the constriction of pupil is the meiosis, while the dilation of pupil is the mydriasis. Mydriasis. So these two new words you have to remember, that the constriction of pupil will be meiosis and dilation of the pupil will be mydriasis. So these are the functions, all the functions on which we can divide that. In the sympathetic, only the heart, the functions of the heart will going to increase. Other than that, all the part of the body, in all the other organs. In parasympathetic system, the things will going to increase. Like in the bronchus, there will be bronchoconstriction. GIT, there will be increased motility. Bladder, increase the urine flow. And in glands, there will be increased secretion. And the pupil, it will going to constrict the pupil. So that's it for this video, I think. So we have basically, let's recapitulate what we have studied. That ANS is autonomic, means it's not going to work by voluntary system. It is of two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic, I have told you that parasympathetic basically paraclinical subject, the peripheral subjects, so basically the craniosacral, and the sympathetic center subject, that is thoracolumbar. In the sympathetic system, sympathy means you will closer, the preganglionic will be closer, means it will be small, and postganglionic will be large. Opposite will be same with the parasympathetic. Now the neurotransmitter in the both acetylcholine will be the neurotransmitter in the preganglionic, whether it is parasympathetic or parasympathetic, while in the postganglionic, in parasympathetic it is acetylcholine also itself, so it will be a cholinergic system, while in sympathetic it is non-adrenergic, so it is an adrenergic system. Now there is one exception, that is sweat gland, in which acetylcholine is through sympathetic system, basically it will increase the secretion, but the postganglionic neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Now the functional difference I have already told you. So that's it for this video. If you like it, please like, share, subscribe, and guys, don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you guys.